Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, everybody. It is Wanda here with this morning's tarot. How are you? Today is Wednesday, the 24th of April. For those of you who have a birthday, happy birthday. And also today is Q&A, so you have an opportunity to ask a question on this live feed right now. Hi, Shirley. How are you, darling? Oh my goodness. Okay, so today is a beautiful day down here in Kiama, New South Wales. We're about 2 hours south of Sydney. Welcome everybody from all over the world, wherever you're hopping on from, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. There's Mac, there's Leilani, there's Irina. How are you, darling? Soul sister. Whoa. Okay, last night I had a really beautiful experience watching Netflix. Now, I know that I'm not a Netflix chick usually, but whenever I wanted to watch something, and there's a new what do you call it, like video out, or a new video out starring Brene Brown, who is actually a research writer, and it's her latest book, and it's called Call to Courage, a call to courage. And she actually created a video about her presentation when she delivered the launching of the book. Wow. It's so amazing. She talks a lot about the power of vulnerability, right? And what we do as human beings when we're feeling vulnerable. So for myself, when I am feeling vulnerable, I have learned to fight back. I fight. I don't let anyone hurt me. I don't let anyone near me. Hang on, my necklace is doing my head in. Hang on a sec. Sorry, guys. Okay, I was just about to put on my peace oil today. Lovely, beautiful peace oil by doTERRA Oils. Do you love those oils? Do you know about them? Do you know that they change your vibration? That's why I started using them in the first place. I knew that intuitively. Getting back to vulnerability. Okay, hang on. While I'm talking about vulnerability, I'll play with the cards, because I know that something beautiful will come up from that. All right, so vulnerability is your greatest power. So in my vulnerability, I fight back, I push back. Don't you hurt me anymore. You keep out of my way. I don't want to know about it. Go away. That's what I do. Some people shrink. Some people hide in a cave. Some people feel shamed by that if they're feeling vulnerable, and they don't speak, they don't do anything, they feel stuck, they go numb. And so in our society, we're taught that never to step into your greatness. We think that being brave is what you do, but you can live a mediocre life. And a lot of us are going, I don't want that mediocre anymore. A lot of people all over the planet are waking up to saying, I don't want this following the cow's ass in front of me anymore. I need to change something. And then we're looking at that gold star out there. Maybe that might help me shift. Maybe that might help me shift. Maybe that might do. But the core of the whole thing, guys, welcome everybody who's jumped on right now. The very core of your existence is to embrace your vulnerability. Like, I'm going to tell you a story, right, about my father. My father was Dutch. He was Dutch because he's passed away, right? But he used to tell me stories about his life, and I want to quickly share this beautiful story. I'm going to share this story also maybe on a post sometime this week in the idea of vulnerability. And I know you're here for the cards, but this is super important. My father was on the run during the World War II. He was a young boy. He was about 16 years old. He'd been like captured and all this kind of thing, and he was actually on the run. So here he is 3 years down the track on the run, and he managed to escape from a workable camp, right? Because he was a Dutch citizen, they couldn't necessarily send him on to Auschwitz, even though that's what they did when he was 13 years old. Now, this is the power of vulnerability. When he was captured the third time, it was a Nazi officer who had another officer with him, and they knew by his uniform that he was an escape artist. And by this stage, my father knew that he was either going to die or not. Anyway, he was captured, and they're standing there in a field, and the Jeep was not too far away. The other soldier got his rifle, and the Nazi officer said to my father in German, you know, what are you doing? You know, where are your papers and all that kind of thing. And of course, Dad didn't have them. And he said, my father responded, and he said, look, you know, I don't know what you're talking about. And the German officer got the shits and said, well, you know, you've got no right. If you're not going to tell me your papers and who you are and where you've come from, then I'm going to have to, you know, shoot you. And my father goes, well, go ahead. So in that thing, this German officer got the Nazi, right, got his pistol and shot my father in the toe. And after that, then my father became insolent, because I think by that time my dad said, I just knew that the game was over. So he said I was going to milk it for what I could. And then my father became insolent, and then the other soldier with the back end of the rifle knocked some of my father's teeth out. So there was my dad, blood coming out of his mouth, spitting out his teeth, some of his teeth that had got knocked out by the thing, and there he was with a blood toe. And my father said there was no way I was going to show my pain. I was going to stand there, take it, and look this guy in the eye, because this war shouldn't have happened. Anyway, the guy goes, well, there's nothing else to do but shoot you. And my father, the last thought that my father had at that time was, well, God, looks like I'm running out of chances. I'm going to see you very soon. And at that moment of him saying that, the German officer goes, you want a blindfold? And my father said, no, I want to look you in the eye. And so my father just stood there, blood out of his mouth, just imagine it. Then at that moment, a German normal officer showed up. And he comes out of the car and he says to the Nazi, what are you doing in this jurisdiction? This is not your jurisdiction. You know, you shouldn't be here. And he goes, oh, you know, I'm working with this infidel. I'm going to, execute him now for escaping. And then the German, what they call the Wehrmacht, the normal German army, looked at my father and noticed he's 16 years old. He's got blood coming out of his mouth, and he's got, blood going all over his shoe and everything from being shot in the toe. Anyway, the German Wehrmacht officer said to the Nazi, get out now, or I'm going to report this to head office, which was Adolf Hitler's head office in Germany. Anyway, so the guy then, tail between his legs, the German Nazi then got in a Jeep and went away. And my father stood there, and the German Wehrmacht officer went over to my father and said, come, let's clean you up. And so that changed my father's life. Anyway, I wouldn't be here if he was dead, because I'm here right now. But at that moment, why am I telling you this story? Because at that moment when my father just gave up all resistance and said, well, God, I'm here, I come, it's going to be over quite soon. And in his bravery, just going, I'm not going to be scared of you. Did that save his life? Well, maybe, maybe, but that is being the power of vulnerability. When you know you can no longer fight, when you know that you can no longer push away or hide, and then that is where your bravery comes through. That is where your bravery is. And so for those of you who are seeking transformation, for those of you who are seeking to be the best, truest version of yourself, then that is where you need to go. You need to become best friends with vulnerability, because only then are you free. No one can hurt you if you're ready to admit, if you lean into that. And a lot of us are so scared. And you know what? That lack of vulnerability in your life keeps you numb. Keeps you numb to your emotions. It keeps you numb to life. It keeps you numb to living life at the highest and the most beautifulest experience you could possibly have. Are you settling for mediocre? Because there's no point going and striking for all those shiny stars out there unless it comes from within you. I hope you get that. Don't waste your time, your money, your energy on looking outside yourself, because vulnerability starts here. Imagine that you are in front of a firing squad and you've got everything that scares you about yourself, everything that scares you about being shamed, everything that scares you about feeling guilty. Stand there and embrace it. And just take it on. Just take it on and look it in the eye. And look what happens. Because when you go to play a bigger game, when you go to play and become your greatness, whatever that is for you, there's going to be more shit that's going to come at you. There's going to be more. It's a bigger game. It's bigger shit. Does that make sense? And unless you are able to hold it, let it fly over you, unless you're able to take it, then don't go there. Then stay small where you are right now. You cannot have risk. You cannot have, you cannot have everything you want without risk of failure, fear of failure, because you know what? You will fail. And that's okay. You're not supposed to succeed all the time. You know, like I say to my art students, it doesn't matter. Let's turn the canvas upside down. Let's try something else. So today's card, let's see if it relates to vulnerability. So type in the comments box, what is your vulnerability point? Is it something that you're feeling guilty about in the past? Is it something that you haven't owned about yourself or that you think about yourself? Because remember, you are not your thoughts, right? You are not your thoughts. It's only a decision and a belief that you created about yourself based on an experience in your childhood or something. You know, unless, of course, you're a mass murderer and you know you've done it, then maybe it's time to fess up, you know. You can only be accountable for what you truly know you've done. And the rest is all story. I hope I'm making sense. But if you're here live right now and you want to step into a bit of your own greatness, then type in the comments box, Wanda, I feel very vulnerable when, because if you do that now on this feed, you are actually stepping into your greatness. Now, I know you might think, oh, yeah, that's bull. Well, you can think that if you want to. But look how, if you do that right now, you'll have a shift in your life. I guarantee it. You'll have a shift in your life because you've owned something about yourself that you think is true, and it isn't. And your job in awakening is to delete, expose those thoughts that hold you back. So that is what vulnerability is all about. So today's card, everybody, today's card is, let's have a look. It is the Lovers. Okay, on the top. So, oh, hang on. I didn't mean it like that, on the top. Sorry about that. Okay, so first point is, what does that mean? Okay, so the Lovers card comes up when there is a lover coming into your life. Oh my God, and it's going to be so in synchronicity, you won't even know yourself. You're going to be matched to the perfection, mind, body, soul, right? And it's not about working with opposites anymore unless you've decided to work with an opposite partner and it's working and you've managed to find a middle ground. Good for you. But this is like the genuine article. This is about love coming back into your life. Now, what is this also about? The Lovers is about integration. So it's the integration of you, if you're a guy, right? You're already in that masculine program. So if you're a guy, you're bringing in the feminine. Does it mean that you're going to become gay? No, it does not mean that at all. It means that you're embracing that soft side of yourself, that nurturing side, right? And for a woman, it's the opposite. So women know their feelings, they know they're feminine, I know for myself, I'm a very I've had to be a warrior because I've had a lot of shit happen into my life. Who hasn't? And I've had to, fight with the sword. I've been Joan of Arc all my life. And now it's time for me to integrate the beautiful essence of my feminine energy that I have left in the background because I already am very strong masculine. Does that make sense? And so now I'm embracing the queen and integrating the two of them, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So for you, what is that for you? Now, in this card itself, that's that integration. So first, it's a lover coming into your life, a true matched lover. Number two, it's about integration of the male and the female, that very sacred space of even, of what sex brings. If you're really having sex with somebody who is your match, then you reach that divinity because you are matched in that moment. It's not just about having sex for sex sake. It's about that true connection, okay? And on the fourth level, the Lover's card actually means you've got to make some huge decisions coming up from now in the next 12 months, right? So what is that huge decision? Is it to make some decisions about leaving home? Is it decisions about not feeling so alone in yourself anymore and feeling connected to you? If you're going, oh, I'm alone, well, you could be on your own, but if you're not happy in your oneness, in your ownness, you never will be happy anywhere because you're still looking for something else, someone else to fulfill you. And that is not what it's all about. That's not what waking up is all about. Waking up is about you knowing who you are, right? Because once you know that, you've got everything. And that is the truth. So that's what that card is all about, okay? Now I'm going to pick a card to read for somebody. And I'm going to read it for, oh, here we are. We've got a Linda online, Linda Dyer. Oh, hang on, I didn't even read the card. I didn't even shuffle. Sorry, Linda. Okay, we all know that for Linda, this card's for you, darling. It's an angel card. Now, I can't see any questions, guys. I'm going to answer 3 questions that are coming up the top. So get your little fingers on the thing there. What's your question? What's your question for me? One question, not 10 million. You have to need a reading for that one. Okay, so for Linda, it is the Archangel of Guidance. Right. When we're in a lull, Linda, I hope this makes sense for you. Stop forcing things, Linda, and be in a space of knowing and waiting for the guidance. Archangel Gabriel is going to give you a message very soon about your soul path, about moving. There is some moving and change coming up for you. So you won't hear that answer if you're too busy in your head playing with the monkeys in the monkey mind and not really listening. We listen with our soul. Our higher self will tell us that. And he will come in the form of Archangel Michael to help guide you. And you ask for that. So, Linda, if you're going through some shit right now, what I suggest that you do is that you just pray, or you put your left hand on your heart, and then you just ask for guidance. And be diligent in waiting to listen from that space. So guys, we've had a really lot of messages today. We've had the messages of the archangels. Linda, I hope that's been helpful. I hope that's been helpful for all of you. Have you guys got any questions for me at all? I can't see any in the feed. I can't see any. Hang on a minute. Okay, so look. Okay, so I'm not getting, okay, hi Jennifer. Yeah, that painting behind me is one of my Buddhas. It is the Buddha of fire, the energy of fire. And there's the dragon, the sacred dog behind Buddha there. And it is that fire, it's that passion. And behind it are also the leaves there of the Bodhi tree that I actually stuck on there. All right, so we've got the lovers, guys, the lovers. Right, the lovers bringing in balance, bringing in a lover, decisions to be made about your future, linked to this card here, And of course, what else I spoke about vulnerability today. Get onto Netflix, guys, and have a look at that beautiful video by Brene, I keep calling Renee, it's Brene Brown, and have a look at her YouTube videos on TEDx. She talks a lot about that, and it's really a hilarious, beautiful story how being a scientist that she stepped into vulnerability, which is actually sort of like an immeasurable trait as a scientist, if you know anything about science in the terms of how we quantify and measure data. So guys, all right, so there's no questions today. That's all right. We'll probably do it on Friday. Lots of love to you all. Have a really great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Remembering, if you want a reading to set you back on track, by all means, personal message me. I'll be more than grateful to help you out. I'm a very straightforward reader. I don't share the shit with you because you already know the shit that you're in. So I prefer to set you on a new path and get you where you need to be. And that's my mission. So darlings, all the best to you all. Have a really great day. If you're watching the replay, don't forget a replay. Type in the replay. And if you do have questions, I'll only answer the 3 of them starting from the top. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.